Hello Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Happy to have you all. Please come into this tarot reading with an open heart and an open mind. Take away only what resonates for you and please release the rest. Do trust your own intuition above all else because you're accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. Let's set the intention to get my Aries gang, my Aries friends out there, some clear, helpful, and insightful messages wherever they are currently at on their spiritual path. All right, let's do it for Aries. So happy birthday, first and foremost, to all the Aries celebrating, and happy eclipse season. We're here, we're doing it. So North Node in Aries. So very likely your houses of partnership and independence will be highlighted during this eclipse. Let's see, what is the general storyline coming out during the eclipse for Aries? Let's get a 3-card storyline. What can they expect during eclipse season? Let's see. So, okay, an ending of some kind. Possibly something with a Scorpio. Let's see, find out more. Yeah, this is like a culmination, a big moment, but it feels like a launching. The world a lot of times represents freedom, but also with this being very publicly seen, there could be like a transformation in your identity in some capacity, and maybe that's work-related. Being more accessible, being more seen, being put in some sort of a major leadership position where I'm almost going to say a lot of trials and tribulations with these two cards, Saturn and the Death card, but with some sort of finality or ending, there's some sort of new beginning. And it almost feels like for some of you, you know what that immediate success is. It's like, yeah, I've, received a pay raise, or I have been pushed into this new, new leadership role or whatever. For some of you, it's something that you kind of know and it transforms your career. Others of you, there's an ending that it's almost like it's just not worth the fight anymore. It's not worth all the effort. Like I'm pouring time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into something that maybe it's not even in alignment with who I am anymore or what I want. And so for that, there's almost like this rebirth. This is almost like you coming out of the womb. But with that, the clarity and the answers of, well, where do I go from here? That's not immediately certain. And I'm almost hearing that's okay. I think something about this, if there is an ending, it is going to align you in kind of refining your point of destiny and a trajectory in terms of going in a direction that feels right to you. There could be an on and off again thing with a Scorpio coming through, and I don't have clarity on that yet. So if that's the case, the on and off thing with a Scorpio, how is that gonna? It's like you both sometimes have days where you want to put in the work and effort, and other days where it's like, okay, I'm done. And yet I keep seeing someone like coming back to be like revisiting it, and it might be both of you. Yeah, it's like you both have the desire to make it work, but it's almost like it's harder in practice than it is in principle, if that makes sense. Like it's easier to be like, I'm going to change and I'm not going to do this anymore, or changed habits, changed pattern, changed behavior. It's like daily habits and routine and patterns is coming through with this kind of Knight of Pentacles energy. So it's like we both see this as something that we want to put work and effort into, but it's not easy. For some of you, maybe it's just a long distance relationship. So the Knight of Pentacles says slow and steady progress there, if you're dealing specifically with a Scorpio. What else? What else can I tell Aries? Let's clarify. One more on this Death card. Ooh. Oh, it fell off the table. Is that symbolic? I feel like I have to go get it. Of all cards to fall off the table, the 10 of Cups. All right, so 10 of Cups. So there could be an ending of a long-term relationship, too, with the Death card there. Something that at one point was emotionally satisfying or fulfilling. For some of you too, though, there's this story of like, I've reached my goal, I've reached my dream, and now that I've done it, it's like, what do I do now? So for some of you, it's not necessarily a job or a relationship. It could have been some sort of personal goal or thing that you were setting out to do, and then you finally obtain it. And it's not that you don't enjoy it and appreciate it, but it's very Aries energy of like, well, that was fun. What's next? So in a cool way, like it's driving you forward to make a reality, more of your dreams, to pursue things that are also meaningful to you. Now that you've accomplished something, it's like, well, now I have that tool in my tool belt. So like, it's like I'm invincible. Is that a good word for it? Like I know I can do more, but it's almost like there's this period of like, but how do I get to the next page? How do I get to the next chapter? What is this World card? yeah, it's like a touching or a taste of wish fulfillment that further motivates and empowers you to go after something bigger. For a lot of you, you are being released from something that was a long time coming, that was a burden, but it was also something that you were emotionally very connected to or very invested in. That seems like a bit of a sensitive message, but this, spirit, whoever is kind of guiding this message is saying, like, it's not all bad. This kind of feels trite, but it's sort of that idea of like, if God closes a door, he opens a window, or something of the sort. Yeah, some of you, you're dealing with the loss of a person in your life, and I'm coming at this suit with much compassion, because I can tell it's a sensitive message. That being said, a lot of you, the universe, whatever you believe in as a higher power, is sort of guiding you to look at sort of the glass half full, and that, think of all that you're going to be able to do now, like in this person's honor, or as a tribute to them, or chasing after that dream that they never quite got to do. It's almost like you're carrying the torch for them. And it doesn't have to be literal death. I don't really like to predict scary messages on my channel. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm asked to relay. It is more or less showing up in like a past energy, so that wouldn't be shocking to y'all out there, right? But yeah, you have Saturn in your 12th, right? If you're an Aries rising, Venus, so a connection or a partnership that you were strongly invested in. It could have been like someone that you had responsibilities to. Maybe that is exiting your life in some capacity, but ultimately it is freeing you up to pursue that thing that you haven't had a chance to pursue yet. Maybe it's a travel opportunity. Maybe it's a hobby or a project. Maybe it's to go after that job. Maybe it's to take that class or that course or that lesson. And it is indicating it is going to take a lot of strength and effort to go after that next thing. You're completely capable of it because you're already coming off of some recent success. But with that, it's going to require more of your time. And so in some ways, the universe has freed you up to go after that thing that you kept putting on the back burner that maybe you wouldn't have or couldn't have had you been, still in this narrative or in this chapter that seems to be sort of fading out of your life a little bit. I'll put it that way, Aries. Yeah, get ready to get back in the fight, which shouldn't be a message that scares you. This can be drama, this can be complications, but also can just be getting like your energy back, getting your zhuzh, getting your, again, feeling motivated, empowered, inspired to go after something, to take the bull by the horns, right? And for some of you, it's getting yourself back out there romantically. It's feeling like you're in a better place to pursue something that is going to open up your heart space a little bit more. All right, so let's do one more spread for Aries. One more spread for Aries. There is a message here of fighting for a relationship. And I don't mean physically like fisticuffs energy. It's like both parties want it to happen, but there are obstacles and challenges being put forth by the universe. And it is to... it's not so much to like test your endurance, but really it's a test of your responsibility and your commitment, because you're quickly going to start weeding out things, people, habits that you carry yourself, of things that you're doing, but it's kind of like my heart isn't really in it. So I think like, you're seeing the forest from the trees and realizing the areas in life where you're like, yeah, someday I'm going to do this. You're asking yourself, like, is my heart really in it? Or is this some kind of goal that, it used to be important to me, but it's not anymore? And so it's almost like you have to like edit your vision or refocus your energy into something that you are really invested in and committed to. And I am wanting to say to weed out the rest. Because it could be maybe you are in a one-sided thing where someone's doing all the work and all the effort, and the other person, it's just like they're there, but they're not really, they're not participating equally. It lacks reciprocity. For some of you, there's going to be sort of an epiphany moment of like, I'm doing all the work anyway, I may as well do it by myself. like a breaking off, a severing for some of you. All right, so for Aries, what else? Coming up in the past, some anxiety in the present, but still holding on to something, wanting to maintain something, or being scared to let go of something in order to make room for something else, because that's the common storyline. It's familiar, it's what we've known. It's sometimes a false sense of security or a false sense of safety. But ultimately, let's see, you're going to go after your wishes and your dreams. Something satisfying and nourishing is going to come out of that. But I will say you're going to have to break out of your comfort zone. You know, the 4 leads to the 5 of Pentacles. So with that, we can hold on to something for as long as we want, but ultimately, you know, the only constant in life is change, and this changes into the 5 of Pentacles, where there is that test. It tests your ability to communicate, right? The 5 of Pentacles is a Mercury card, and be a good advocate for yourself. Some of you may end up taking some sort of financial risk, or sort of finally embracing some sort of hardship where before it was like, I don't want to look at it. If I don't look at it and I don't have to address it, maybe it'll change or it doesn't exist. I almost think there's a recognition or a dawning of like addressing the elephant in the room, or you can no longer ignore or just sit on that thing that's irking you or bothering you, because in the past it's caused you a lot of anxiety. For some of you, it may have to do with finally moving. If you are very devoted or dedicated to your routes, to your neighborhood, to you know, your job at a certain location, some of you may end up going after that thing that, you know, again, some sort of risk might be involved. You know, take that at your own discretion. But I do think with the future coming up, you know, 9 of Pentacles says it's going to be good, though. You're going to be really happy. So what qualities support you at this time, Aries? Your dedication, and in some ways your obsession and your really strong work ethic. And the only reason I'm saying obsession, which has a double connotation, right? This is coming up in what is helpful to you. So this is the way I view it as Capricorn energy. So super strong work ethic, your ability to endure, endurance. You know, Saturn is the timekeeper. It's all about the long term, and essentially the more times we are challenged and work through those challenges, it puts us in a more advantageous position. It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, to a certain extent, right? Again, it's coming up in what's available to us for help, or really what supports us. So it could quite literally be a Capricorn, but also sort of that idea with like obsession with what you love. You know, I've heard this, and for the most part, I think I agree with it. It's like obsession will always beat out talent, right? If you do it consistently and it's all you think about, and I'm speaking more work-wise, guys, right? But if something, it's just you can't stop thinking about it. You absolutely love it. You can't picture yourself doing anything else. Whether the general public views you as good at it or not, the more you do it, you're going to get better and better and better. Like, that's inevitable, right? Again, that change. It's like, you know, maybe you suck at something the first couple times you do it, but then you do it again and again. And like, you know, I don't got to tell you, right? Your obsession with something and your dedication, your loyalty, your work ethic to it, that is going to do miraculous things for you. And also, I would say too, recognizing the shadow side of yourself and not beating yourself up for it. Owning your mistakes, owning the things inside of you that feel a little bit dark or heavy, and fully embracing them. It's like when you shine light on the darkness, it's not as scary anymore. It doesn't make it a monster. For some of you, it could even be doing some sort of like emotional work. For some of you, metaphorically, you may have a father figure, whether they are alive or have already passed, that spiritually, like they're supporting you. They're rooting you on. It feels like they're in your corner. They're on your team. They're rooting for you. So what qualities is Aries being asked to lean into? What would be helpful qualities they might need? All right, so partnership. Again, possibly moving houses for some of you. Some of you may have a very strong romantic partnership that is already in your life and cheering you on. It's interesting that message is sort of out of left field for me, but I mean, maybe what we've been talking about so far has been something career related for you. Tell me about the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is about a stable foundation that it's only going to grow from here. So there could be some sort of connection or partnership or contract that really supports you and endorses you. This is frequently a card that has to do with land and property. So if you're looking to move or looking for, again, some sort of relocation, that card says, you know, I think it's going to meet your needs and then some. And ultimately growth in partnership in any sense of the word. What is known here? What are the facts? All right, so there is kind of like a sentimental nostalgia going on, some soulmate energy. There could be a very strong connection with siblings at this time, siblings leaning on each other for support. There could be this idea of, whether you're choosing to or not, this idea of sort of going back to your roots and lineage and history and thinking about the past. And I do think it's a double-edged sword, or it's a mixed bag. It's like we're reflecting on some really good times, and we're reflecting on some really hard times that we haven't quite been able to close the door on. And so I do think with this, that idea of like shining light on the past in order to realize, you know, not only the beautiful blessings we've had, and, you know, gratitude, but also looking at things that just, it's never quite been right and we're sick of taking it, right? And it's like, we really want to change it once and for all and be able to release burdens of the past. You have a lot of strong Capricorn energy coming through in this spread right here. Your endurance, your strong leadership skills, your ability to be self-motivated, this is an Aries card, that is going to be reflected back to you in another person that's going to be a key player in your life in the next year or so, possibly longer. So what is unknown? What is in the shadows? What is hidden? What is in the depths? What is in the subconscious? What is unknown for Aries in this spread? What is unknown? Judgment. All right, so yeah, there is something about a reawakening of the past or looking back to the past, and it's like something that we thought was closed off and sealed and finalized. It's like we're digging it up. We're going back to the past, possibly to seek some sort of closure or to receive some sort of healing or ability to move on from it. But with Judgment, we might be reawakening something to breathe new life into it. So let's see. For some of you, someone who is an artist or a musician may factor into that. Something about an old piece of music or hearing a song that takes you back. What about Judgment? Why is this hidden? What are we revealing from the past? Interesting, that came up earlier. So again, it's like metaphorically the couple who it's like you both want to fight for this, but it feels like you're losing grip or you're losing your footing. I can see this going a couple different ways. What is the Magician pointing at here? What is the most important message? The Magician is about manifestations and knowing that you have the tools on your table. For a lot of you, this is like, don't be afraid to strike out and go at it alone, because there is partnership in your future, but it could be that you are cycling out of an old, it doesn't have to be toxic relationship, but again, something where it's like we just can't get on the same page, and it's been like this 10-year chapter of like trying and then breaking up, like on again, off again. Some of you may finally choose to close the door on that and strike out on your own, even if that puts you in a place of vulnerability. It's like leaning into your bravery, knowing it's like not having lack mentality, realizing there's a lot more fish out in the sea. There's a lot more people out there for you. So it's like closing the door to a chapter of struggle in any sense of partnership. And then this idea of manifestation of a new, someone who's quite literally more in alignment. You see how these wands run parallel to each other? People who want and desire the same things and want to grow together. And for some of you, it's almost like this recognition, like it never had to be that hard. Like I've been giving blood, sweat, and tears and all this thing to a relationship where it's like, if only they could change, or if only we could both do this, and it never happened. And the universe is saying, maybe that was your signal, your sign to just let it go. It doesn't have to give you all that anxiety. If both people are at this thing of like, you know, if you don't succeed, try again. But if you've been trying again for 10 years, at what point do you blow the whistle? And I'm not necessarily advocating for that. I'm just delivering some message. Are you participating in a relationship or staying in any sort of situation out of fear-based or lack mentality of this might be as good as it gets. This is what is familiar. This is what is known. So I'm going to hold on to it because I don't want to lose it. But by holding on to something, where are you denying yourself sort of the beautiful blessing of new things that are trying to come into you? Because I mean, hello, Four of Wands, especially to do with partnership. And also, ultimately, this is about making yourself happy. When two people are operating at 9 of Cups energy, they can come together and do the 10 of Cups, the happily ever after, the fairy tale ending. But for you, it's almost like there's this strikeout of independence, you know, going at it alone maybe for a bit, or I'm hearing go your own way, like the Fleetwood Mac song. Thank you. King of Cups and the Page of Cups. Yeah, some of you have a new love offer coming in. For some of you, there's someone who's already in your network of friends that it may actually transform into a partnership, but it never could because you were still kind of in this on again, off again thing with someone else. For some of you, for some of you. For Aries, something they need to hear. Change. You are being asked to change a part of yourself that no longer feels like the person you've become or are becoming. Change isn't always easy, but letting go of this outdated part of yourself will allow you to align with your true self. Love it. And then a romance card for those who are interested. Something that sort of encapsulates what's coming in an eclipse season for Aries. For Aries, anything that might be helpful for them to hear. So fidelity. All right, let's see. So there's Taurian energy attached to this. So for some of you, this may or may not involve a Taurus. Again, something to do with an artist or a musician or a poet. Some of you may be dating someone who just like lives on the road and they travel a lot. That doesn't have to be your past person. That could be someone in the future. For those of you who this is a new relationship, it feels like it takes time to come together properly because distance might be a challenge for some of you. And I'm not saying, you know, you're up in bed crying about it, you know, because it's like, oh, I never see my person. I'm not saying that per se. It's that it may start off as a friendship because you both don't necessarily see the reality of how it could work being in a firm relationship and in a couple. But yeah, give that time because that might change. I do think you have secret feelings for someone and you haven't necessarily expressed it. And maybe you couldn't, again, because of, I'll say, external people who were around the situation. You know, maybe it's like a work romance or something like that and you felt like you had to keep it secret. That might be changing. That might be changing for a lot of you all. All right, Aries, that's what I got for you. Thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it. Please show me some love and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I post my readings. If you want more content from me, I am on Instagram and Facebook, and I appreciate you being here for me. Happy eclipse, happy birthday, and I will see you soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.